لا عند الشافعية yes. Yeah. مالكية no.
Some people when they come to make a group, they just go there and they do like that. They're socks and they do like that. How's that?
Under socks?
Yeah, we wear the socks.
Yani the majority of the ulama we know said that the socks, the dress socks that we wear today, they are not of the type that we are allowed to wipe over. Because one of the conditions is that it has to be impermeable to water. So when water gets on it, it's not supposed to reach the skin. So when you wipe on the socks and the sock is porous, then the water gets to your skin. Hence, you should avoid wiping on the socks. The socks that are allowed are either leather, which means it's not going to get through, or something like leather that has the same property and it doesn't penetrate. Before what, I'm sorry? Okay. We don't really say that the young brother's question, is there a sunnah concept before qabla wahi, before wahi, and then versus after wahi? Yani when the Prophet ﷺ on his 40th year, the Jibreel alayhi salam came to him in Hira and told him Iqra, and the first Quran was revealed. So the concept of what we call sunnah has different connotations. Sunnah means originally tariqa or way. So it means when we say sunnah to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we mean his way. That's when he said, وَمَنْ رَغَبَ عَنْ سُنَّتِي فَلَيْسَ مِنِّي. So whoever does not want my sunnah is not from me. In other words, the whole general understanding of sunnah, not sunnah and fuqaha, which means those actions which you do, we reward, and if you don't do them, you are not punished. That's a different meaning of sunnah. Sunnah has different meanings because it's a technical term. So we have to be careful how we use this technical term. So did the Prophet ﷺ have a sunnah before the wahi? He had a way, and we know that he was ma'soom. He is ma'soom. In other words, he never fell into sin either before the wahi or after wahi. There's no question about this, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. But are his actions before the wahi considered to be authoritative, yani they're part of the sunnah, the sharia? No. The actions after he received the wahi, those are the things we consider we follow to be sharia. But he was protected, he was infallible, ma'soom, from any type of sin even before the wahi. So any of his practices before that cannot be considered against Islam or against sharia.
What is your opinion? What is the situation?
So there's two opinions on this, what to do. When there's not a true Fajr and a true Isha, when there's twilight all night, which I understand can happen in some of the northern latitudes, I don't know if Harvard is in that or not. Then in this case, either you go by the fasting hours of the next closest locale that has a more reasonable fasting hours, or there's a fatwa of our Sheikh Waleed Mohammad who says that you do the Meccan fasting. So whatever Mecca is doing, their fasting, you could also follow them as well. Those are two available opinions. Memzing was asking me why did I leave America, and I was studying engineering and actually had a very successful job on Wall Street in New York City and so forth. I think it has nothing to do with me, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put a feeling inside me that There's got to be more to life than this. You know, in terms of material comforts, alhamdulillah, that was easy and it was there. And, you know, many people would love to have some type of big job on Wall Street and get to go to New York City every day and see the big city and the big lights and all that goes with it. But to me, it was very empty. It's faulty, and it was muzayyaf. It's not real. You know, it's just people following what their dreams are, but then when you actually get to that place of your dream, you find that it's nothing. And that's the way the dunya is. It's meant to disappoint you. You're not supposed to be farhan with dunya. You're not supposed to have this farah. Our farah is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. قُلْ بِفَضْلِ اللَّهِ وَرَحْمَتِهِ فَبِذَلِكَ فَلْيَفْرَحُوا هُوَ خَيْرٌ مِمَّا يَجْمَعُونَ. Right? Say with فَضْلِ اللَّهِ, His virtue and His rahmah. That's what you should be happy with. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا نهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. هذا الفرح. That's what we're happy with. الهداية. نعمة الإسلام وكفى بها نعمة. That's what we're happy with. What, how many zeros I have in my bank account, what type of car that I drive, what my postal code is for where my house is. These things don't mean much, because ask people who already have all those things, they're not satisfied, because they think they can still get more and they want more. That's the nature of dunya. It's never going to satisfy you. It's like, you know, eating empty calories. You eat the donuts, and you have like 2 or 3 of them, and you're like, I'm still hungry. Because the donut was designed, and especially the potato crisp. Let's see, chips here. Crisp. Right? Do you know what crisps are? You know who actually made the crisp? There's a team of food scientists, not chefs, not cooks, scientists, who designed the chip, the crisp, in a way such as that you want to eat more of it. So they put this artificial salty flavor and this artificial flavors, and you can get them in barbecue flavor, and you get them in mesquite grilled, and you can get them in spicy, and you can get them cheese. All of these are artificial flavors to make you want to eat more of them. So the whole idea behind it is it never fills you up, and you want to keep eating them. You could probably eat that whole Pringles thing by yourself, right? If you try, it's not that difficult. That's what they want you to do. So it's designed to do that. That's the way the dunya is designed. It's designed to never satiate you. So and off like that, right, people who have a little bit of sense to them say, you know what, I see the trick. I get the trick. I don't want the trick. I want something else. So with Faqir Yani, I felt like I saw the whole trick about it, and I said, you know, there's something out there that's more to life than this, than just going to work, coming back, and spending your money on the weekend. It's got to be something else. So I sought out the ulama, I sought out the people of knowledge, I wanted to learn from them, I wanted to understand what they understood, and yeah, alhamdulillah, this is what Allah guided us to. But it's not necessary that you actually leave your life to do that. Some people are under the impression, oh, khalas, then, you know, I'll just sell everything and I'll go move to Hadramaut and study there. You don't have to do that necessarily. You can reach higher heights here than maybe if you did in Hadramaut. It's not necessarily true. Because know where you are is where Allah put you. And our ulama, they say that if you have iqamat sharia, ma tawaffur al-asbab, those two together, that means you should be staying in the place you're at. So if you're able to practice your deen, no one is molesting you, you pray Jum'ah, you practice your deen, you pray the 5 prayers, and you're able to do that in a way that's balanced and you're not being oppressed. And at the same time, tawaffur al-asbab, your life is okay, like financially or otherwise, and you're mastool, you're doing okay, then that means Allah wants you where you're at. He didn't give you the green light to switch and go somewhere else. But once those things takhtal, you lose your job, or something happens, something changes up, and you find that life as it is for you now is not livable, you have to do something else. Then Allah is taking you somewhere else. And it's a fitna, it's a tribulation, it's difficult, but know that He's closing this door here and He's opening the door somewhere else. So you look to where Allah is going to open that door for you. But there's no need, because if you feel like, hey, I can be a better Muslim over there, or I could do better there, Imam Ibn Ata al-Sakandari, he says, this is min al-shahwa al-khafiyya. Shahwa al-khafiyya means it's from a subtle desire. People have desires, so you're kind of not happy with your life and you just want to do something different. People get those feelings, but doing that something different means you don't have a complete trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because if you did, you would know this is a situation Allah put you in, even if it seems a little difficult, but He wants you in the situation now, He wants you to deal with it, And it could be for a higher purpose. It could be for something of your benefit. But you have to open your eyes and open your heart to see what it is that He wants from you. So the aql, he doesn't say, wake up in the morning and say, what am I going to do today? But he says, what does Allah have planned for me today? And he seeks what Allah has in His plan for him, and he seeks to fulfill it. That's for the youth. Some of the sisters in the earlier session. I've met Yusuf Islam, but he's British. Some of them, yes. Yeah. I've only met some of them who actually started to more rap maybe, or do some of their art after they became Muslim. I didn't really meet the ones who were very popular. I heard about them and I heard what they do, but you know, artists in particular, I think they have a type of personality that opens them up for something like Islam. Because artists, they're a personality type where they are expressive. And they look for meaning in life, and they want to express that meaning in their art. So they're already kind of on their way there already. Like someone like Yusuf Islam that I've met, I've seen that in. And some of the people that you're thinking about, I think are along that path too. And that's why they get off on meaning. And if they don't find it, then they look to artificial means like drugs. That's why illicit drugs are often associated with artists, people who are singers, or because they get lost in the attention that's thrown upon them. Once the attention goes, they don't have that high anymore from people's attention, and they realize that people don't really care about who they are, it's just kind of their popularity. Then they turn to drugs, and then they turn to other things, and some of them, unfortunately, it ends very bad. Like Michael Jackson, like Whitney Houston, like Marilyn Monroe, all of these people who are artists like this, they have this tragic end. So, yeah, I mean, you make a good point that no one is beyond reach. You know, we tend to think like the really weird person who has weird hair and tattoos and all these things, they'll never accept Islam. Actually, I think they could be amongst the first people to accept it. And the Prophet ﷺ, the history of the prophets in general is always, they went first to the disenfranchised, to the people who were misfits in society. They're the ones who first accepted Islam, not the people of Tabaq al-Ulya, you know, not Ilyat al-Qawm, not the people of the pulling the strings of power in society. They were some of the last, but some of the first, like Sayyidina Bilal Habashi was amongst the first, and amongst the last, Abu Sufyan ibn Harb. He didn't become Muslim to the Fath Mecca, the day of conquest of Mecca. He was the leader. He didn't make the realization until all the way at the end because he was pulling the power strings. But this is appealing, we should keep this in mind, and that the Masakin, because they are already in a state of what's called Ittirar and Tajreed, which is closer to Ubudiyyah, closer to being a slave. And Ittirar and Tajreed means you have nothing. And you realize you have nothing, Wal-Muttar knows that he has nothing except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. من يجيب الدعاء المضطر إذا دعاه. Who is the one who will answer the dua of the Muttar? And Muttar means like there's no other way. You're lost at sea, you're on a raft, the sharks are circling, there's no food. نفذت الأسباب. There's nothing you can do. There's no action you can take to make your situation better. All that's left is look to the sky. There's no way. But you know what? We're always like that. We're always in that situation. So whether you realize it or not, there's always, whether the sharks are circling us or we are living in comfort and luxury and we have 24-hour security around our house and we have armed guards protecting us, we're still in the same situation as that guy in the raft with the sharks circling. There's no difference. It's the same thing. But this guy realizes it, and this guy is in a state of delusion. He doesn't see it. That's why they're closer. That's why the Prophet ﷺ said in Masakin, enter paradise 500 years before the other people. Because they're already in that close state. They have maybe maskana yet, but the true maskana or faqr is faqr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Al-faqr ila Allah. Feeling that you're in need of no one except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So wealth is not defined by how much you have, it's by how much you don't need. So if you need no one except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, هذا هو الغنى. إنما الغنى غنى النفس. True wealth is wealth of your soul, not needing anyone except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's what we want, that's what we're looking for. So some of these people who've reached that and they see it's nothing, that it's a mirage, they come to that realization and then they open their eyes up. And then there are some people who live in poverty, but they're always looking to have more. They want money, they want these things. Not only does he have maskanat, yet he has maskanat al-qalb. He's both poor in what he has, and he's poor and he doesn't realize that he needs Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He thinks these things are given to him. So, yeah, that's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you're supposed to be saying, and more yeah, that's okay. I was actually born in America.
You were born?
Yeah. My parents are Egyptian, but I was born in America.
Basically, I'm saying, this being an American, but it's difficult for Muslims to express themselves. Is it not difficult there, taking care of
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I think every place has its challenges. And I've lived in enough places to see that every place has different challenges. I live in Cairo now, I don't live in America anymore, and I see even Egypt, it's a Muslim country, but there are challenges there that I face, or my family faces, that are not challenges in America, for example. In some ways, Islam is a little easier to practice in certain aspects in America than it is in Cairo. There's some ways it's easier to practice in Cairo than it is in America. And all of it is Ardullah, wa Ardullahi wasi'ah. It's all the land of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it's all wasi'ah. Allah created all of this. We have to, remove the barriers in our hearts and our minds that this is an Islamic land and this is a non-Islamic land. Because we're sort of living a post, division type of paradigm now, where we're dividing the world into Islamic and non-Islamic. Because we have the same monoculture is penetrating everywhere. You all have your iPhones and iPads and you're listening to, iTunes. So are the kids in Cairo too. Same exact thing. And so are the kids in Taiwan. And I bet some of the same kids in Pyongyang in North Korea are probably doing the same. So it's kind of everywhere. And so there are very similar issues facing everyone, whether they're in a so-called Muslim land or in a non-Muslim land. Because the world is opened up. All the doors are open. There are no barriers anymore. You can know in an instant what happens in Cairo just by opening the internet. And people in Cairo know what's happening here also, instantly. And so with this free transfer of information back and forth, these barriers that we're putting up, they don't exist anymore, which is a double-edged sword. It's good and it's bad. It's good that this opens the door for us. We don't have to bring conquering armies to let people know about Islam. The gates are open. There's no gates of Vienna to knock down to bring Islam to people. They're already open. And at the same time, it makes the door open for a lot of misinformation, a lot of bad information going out about Islam, about people, about things that are simply not true. So, this is a situation we've inherited. This is what we're dealing with. And part of the able Muslim is to analyze the situation, have a tasawwur of what's going on, and then be able to realize what would be the best course of action for their particular situation. And usually a single individual can't do it by themselves, it needs more of a group effort. We need intelligent people to come together and think about solutions and about how we're going to approach these many challenges that we're facing. The challenge of raising our youth and educating them and preserving Islam for them and then preserving for the next generation is one of the greatest challenges we face today. Perhaps it's the greatest challenge that we have collectively as Muslims. And we have to think about how we're going to go about doing that. Because at the rate we're going now, we're in a real danger of 2-3 generations from now, Islam might be barely recognizable as it is to us now. Who knows what's going to happen? So we have to think about, planting the seeds for the future and seeing where it's going to take us, and having, you know, enough people around us who know enough and could be like the awamid, you know, the columns, the pillars that will carry this through. But if we leave it to chance and we don't take the steps, then we're in a real danger of, whether it's here in England, and I would say even in places like Cairo and Syria and other places. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والتسليم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد في الأولين، وصل وسلم وبارك على محمد في الآخرين، وصل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد في الملأ الأعلى إلى يوم الدين. ما شاء الله كان وما شاء لم يكن، ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. اللهم آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار، وإنا على ذكرك وشكرك وحسن عبادتك. فافتح لنا فتوح العارفين بك. اللهم فرج على المسلمين في كل مكان، في سوريا وفي مصر وفي تونس وفي ليبيا وفي بورما وفي أفغانستان وفي باكستان وفي سائر بلدان المسلمين. اللهم نور قلوبنا بالإيمان والإسلام والإحسان، حبب إلينا الإيمان وزينه في قلوبنا، وكره إلينا الكفر والفسوق والعصيان، واجعلنا من الراشدين. واغفر لوالدينا كما ربيانا صغيرا. ونسألك من كل خير سألك منه محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، ونستعيذك من كل شر سألك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، ما قدمنا وما أسررنا وما أعلنا وما أنت أعلم به منا. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون، وسلام على المرسلين، والحمد لله رب العالمين. الفاتحة.